Hello and welcome back to Bits and Bobs. Today's video will go over the complete and entire history of the half-crown coin, a British coin denomination. It started off as a gold coin, a gold hammered coin as we can see here, then moved into being a silver hammered coin, as we can see here, and then of course lastly became the modern milled half-crown that more of us will be familiar with. So, the story begins in 1526, the first year of issue for the half-crown, under the reign of King Henry VIII. And here it is, the first ever half-crown. We can see a crowned quartered royal arms shield there to the reverse, with legend around, and to the obverse, no portrait, but we can see a rose there, again crowned, with HR either side, Henry Rex, King Henry VIII. It is a lovely coin, a piece of gold hammered history that is a very valuable coin today as the first ever hammered and first ever half crown. A half crown being 1/8 of a pound sterling, so 8 to the pound, and it would be 30 pence in the pre-decimal system. This is the first issue for Henry VIII. There was also a second issue, as we can see here, a very, very similar design. Can you notice the detail difference? That's right, there's a HR on either side of the shield now, as well as the flower, so the rose and shield have HR either side. This coin is very small, weighing only 1.51 grams, a similar weight to a silver threepence, and a diameter of 20mm, so a similar sort of size and weight to a sixpence of more modern times. Now, King Edward VI, the boy king, came after Henry VIII, and here is his half-crown here. We can see his portrait now to the obverse, facing to the right, with no crown or laureate, and to the reverse, a quartered arms oval-shaped shield with a sort of detailing around and a crown to the top, with a legend around there, and you can see to the side of the coin, Edward VI. Now, in 1551, a big change happened as the silver half-crown was introduced, as we can see here. Still under the reign of the boy king, he is now on horseback as we can see, an absolutely amazing portrait here, with so much detail to the king and the horse. Below him is the date, 1551, the first ever dated half-crown there, from 1551. So overall, an amazing coin, and the reverse features the quartered arms royal shield there, with a long dividing cross through, and the legend around the coin as usual. But still is a hammered coin as you can see from the coin. The coin is larger and weighs more as silver is less valuable, now having a weight of 15.9 grams and a very large diameter of 35.2mm, similar size to a modern 1-ounce bullion coin. Now, there were no half-crowns minted under the reign of Bloody Mary or Mary I, and here we can see an Elizabeth I half-crown. We can see a very, very detailed portrait of the Queen, facing to the left, holding orb and sceptre, with a crown, a Tudor ruff, and a nice dress there, with lots of detail on her portrait, and a legend around. And we have a similar reverse design, with the quartered royal arm shield, with now more detail on, as technology advanced. Now, it is worth pointing out, at this time, the crown coin was still a gold coin, and then the half-crown was a silver coin, as we can see here. So the half-crown was the largest silver denomination at the time, used in circulation. Now here we have a James I half-crown, and we return to a horseback portrait. Another lovely portrait with detail on the horse, and the king. We can see a sword and crown on his portrait with legend around, and then a quartered arms royal shield with further quartering in the other parts of the shield. Now James I also reintroduced the gold hammered half-crown. We can see here a very large shield on the reverse with quartered royal arms, and then further quartered in the top left and bottom right portions of the shield, and then a right-facing crowned bust of King James I. So a very cool coin, but now is even smaller due to the rising gold price, only 1.125 grams, so a very small half-crown, in fact the smallest half-crown to ever circulate. Now here we can see a Charles I half-crown. The half-crown returns to silver and is no longer ever again a gold coin. You can see a few design detail differences here, with a couple of different shapes of the shield and a few different poses for the king on horseback, but it is a rather similar design with a quartered arm shield and a horseback portrait. The coin now weighs 15 grams with a diameter of 35mm. A bit more of a rounded weight and diameter, but still a very large coin. Now there are some half-crowns issued bearing the portrait of Oliver Cromwell. These were never official coins, of course, and not struck by the Royal Mint, but comment down below if you want a full video on the coins of Cromwell during the interregnum, as it is an interesting period for coins where we see some very, very early milled coins, as we can see there. Now returning to Charles II, we have here the first ever milled half-crown, and we can see his portrait here, much more detail now with modern minting techniques, and the reverse design is absolutely lovely with 4 crowned shields about a central garter star with interlocked C's of Charles in between the shields, legend around and the date to the top. So a lovely coin, a little bit heavier than before with a 15.05 gram weight and a slightly smaller diameter of 34mm, as it is thicker due to it being a milled coin and therefore being thicker. Here we can see a James II half-crown, keeping pretty much the exact same design, just removing the interlocked C's, of course, as that was for Charles, and then having his portrait, of course. To the obverse we can see a left-facing bust with laureate, long hair, and draped clothing for the reign of James II, a short-lived monarch, but still having some half-crowns minted under his reign. Next up was William and Mary, an absolutely lovely coin. Not only a stunning and unique design to the reverse there, with a crowned shield, with a sort of mini shield inside, but we also have the double portrait. The only time two monarchs have been on a half-crown during the reign of William and Mary, we can see the double portrait of the right-facing monarchs there. Next up was King William III on his own reign after Queen Mary died. And we can see the reverse design returning to an older style with the four crown shield about a central lion of orange for his royal house. Here is a Queen Anne half crown, a stunning and beautiful coin, a lovely portrait of Queen Anne there to the obverse facing left, and a similar design with the four crown shields, but now having a garter star in the middle and roses and French lilies there between the shields, adding even more detail to a lovely, lovely coin. And there is also a version without the extra detail there. These coins still weighed the same as all the previous ones, the weight had been unchanged so far. Here is a George I half crown, another lovely design. We have the four crown shields, but a central garter star with the roses and lilies, a very similar design to the Queen Anne coin, with now his right-facing bust adorning the obverse of these coins. During the reign of George I, the diameter was shrunk to 33mm, 1mm smaller, but having the same weight. Now interestingly, this coin remained legal tender until 1969, an extremely long time for these half crowns to be legal tender. Here is a George II half crown, with now his portrait to the obverse, and we can see again the similar design with the four crowned shields about the central garter star, with a date to the top and the legend around. And we can see the word Lima there below his portrait, as some were made with silver from Peru. Now then, there were no half crowns minted for ages, between 1760 and 1816, until the great recoinage of 1817, that began in 1816, reinitiated the minting of the half crown. This is the modern half crown, minted between 1816 to 1970, spoiler alert, and the weight of the coin was 14.14 grams, a diameter of 32mm, unchanged for all these years since 1816 to the very last half crown being made in 1970. So, let's have a look at all the designs of the modern half crown and see how the design have changed for this lovely and iconic coin. Here is the first design, 1816 to 1818. We have the bullhead portrait of George III to the obverse, and an exquisite and detailed design there to the reverse, only lasting a few years though, as in 1818 to 1820. Here's the new design. We can see again George III, his last portrait rather than the bullhead portrait, and again a stunning design to the reverse with a crowned royal shield with the Hanoverian shield inside. We have here a design from 1821 to 1824, now under the reign of King George IV. A lovely design here with a sort of flowerized, stylized shield, crowned, and the date below. Here we have the second design of George IV half crown from 1825 to 1829. We have a second portrait there to the obverse, and another stunning design there to the reverse, with a banner below shield on stand with a crown. We then have the William IV design from 1831 to 1837. We have a shield within cloak, crowned, and then we have the portrait there of William IV, done by William Wyant to the obverse. Here is a very long-lived design, the young head Victoria half crown, with a crowned royal shield, with wreath around, and the young head or barnhead portrait of Queen Victoria to the obverse. Then, from 1887 to 1892, we had the Jubilee head design, with the Jubilee head to the obverse, and a very cool design to the reverse, with a crowned shield encircled with ribbons, garters, and lots of lovely design. Then we have the veiled head portrait of Victoria from 1893 to 1901, the veiled head to the obverse by Thomas Brock, and a sort of spade guinea design style to the reverse, very, very cool indeed. We then have the Edward VII design here from 1902 to 1910. We have a crowned quartered shield within a garter to the reverse, and then of course the portrait of Edward VII to the obverse. Between 1911 and 1927, George V kept the same reverse design as Edward VII, but of course now having his portrait there by Bertram McKennell to the obverse of the coins, facing to the left. Now also worth mentioning, in 1920, all silver coins, including the half crown, are now minted out of 500 silver, 50% silver, rather than sterling. From 1927 to 1936, we have this design for the half crown, the same portrait of the king, but a new design there of the shield, sort of a concave shield there, with the royal cipher crowned either side. From 1937 to 48, we have this design here, now with the portrait of George VI to the obverse, and a few very small reverse design changes, such as the shield being now hung on a hook, rather than having a rose at the top. During this design in 1947, no more silver coins were minted for circulation. Now all half crowns were made out of cupro nickel, so no silver and no precious metals in these coins. From 1949 to 1951, this design here is on the half crown, with the words Ind Imp being removed, as George VI is no longer Emperor of India, as India was given back to the Indian government. And then from 1953 to 1970, we have this design here on the half crown, with a new portrait to the obverse, Elizabeth II, and a crowned shield there, with initials either side. Notice behind the Queen there the words Brit Om. That was only on the coins in 1953, as then in all other years they were removed, having a shorter legend for the half crowns and all other coins. So there we go, that is the complete history of the half crown coin. So comment down below your favourite era. Do you prefer the gold hammered, silver hammered, or the modern half crowns sterling or 50%? And as well, please do subscribe to the channel if you've learned something new and enjoyed. And of course, thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon for some more coins in the future on Bits and Bobs. Bye!